weather on the dumb. I ain't the cure, I'm the venom. If you wanna find me, find the taillight. Something's coming in, you're gonna wanna take a red eye. It's time to go. It's time to go. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready.
Good afternoon to all of you. Saan man po parte ng mundo kayo naroon. Ito po inyong lingkod, Ado Paglinawan, ang maestro. At tayo ay medyo merong bagong look because it has something to do with our age. And we have to adapt to it. My implants po are not functioning properly, so temporarily I have to wear these prescription glasses. And if it distracts you, I would like to apologize because we're not in the best of prosthetic this time. And yan po, nakaka-apekto sa ating alindog, sabi nga ni Ginang Maharlika. Mga kabansa, ito po ang Maestro, episode 230. At ito po ang titulo ng ating episode, Deus Ex Machina versus Marcos. Blunders sa Kongreso, binuko ni Amy. At yan po ay magiging topic natin with the environment of the resignation of Sara Duterte from the cabinet of Marcos. Ironically, it is the only achievement of the Marcos administration from the first 2 years of its regime, from July 1, 2022 to the present time. Alam po ninyo, there are 3 basic governance patterns that nung po nagsimula kay Ferdinand Marcos Sr., it was one of authoritarianism, constitutional authoritarianism. We saw a lot of qualified people in the cabinet headed by then Executive Secretary Paeng Salas, and he brought with him the creme de la creme of society to help the government push the progress agenda forward. We heard about big things. Number 1 is basically a balanced agro-industrial economy. Number 2, a Filipino ideology that is composed of political liberation, economic emancipation, and social concord. The great Ferdinand Marcos Sr. envisioned our society, the new society, into an egalitarian. Yun po ang kanyang ginamit because during that time, hindi naman niya pwedeng gamitin ang word na socialism. Yan po ang gobyernong in-envision ni Marcos with citizen participation. Yan po, matatandaan nyo yung mga buzzwords ni Marcos, citizen participation. And of course, there were many other challenges. Like any president, anybody would not be perfect. He had this good achievement insofar as the first time we saw infrastructure moving forwards in roads, bridges, and the things that our people need to be able to support a bludgeoning economy. And he looked at the industrialization of 18 different sectors of our nation, our nation's commerce. 11, and the engine of growth that he would use was a nationalized power sector. Kasi cheap electricity po is key to the multiplication of factories and industrialization. So we were proceeding from an agricultural start, and he was envisioning towards industrialization, full industrialization. And dapat yan, after Marcos, nadidevelop na yung mga service economies to complete the agri to industrialization to service, and then now what is happening now to higher technology. But so much for that, we also saw in the Marcos I era profligacy, no? Power tripping, corruption, and a trickle-down economy following the models of the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, the IMF. It was a trickle-down, and the growth was measured in terms of gross national product. Unfortunately, all the visions of Marcos were demolished by the EDSA Revolution. Kaya po, the EDSA Revolution turned out to be a counter-revolution of the vision of Marcos. And it brought about 30 years of liberal democracy wherein ang nasusunod ay kung ano yung kagustuhan at gustong palabasin ng Estados Unidos. From Aquino the Mother, to Fidel Ramos, to Erap Estrada, to Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, to Noynoy Aquino, and finally to 30 years of liberalization, globalization, privatization, and deregulation. In other words, hanggat maaari, ang nagpapatakbo ng bansa ay ang private sector. Unfortunately for us, mga kabansa, ang ating citizenry is composed of 97% people and 3% oligarchs. So napunta na lahat ngayon ang mga assets ng ating bansa under the control of the oligarchies. However, in 2016, there was a revolution by the ballot. And a certain mayor of Davao City came about. And for the first time, we had the taste of a populist president, pro-people, with a new brand of governance na bottoms up, inaayos muna niya, ilalim, paakyat, imbis na trickle down. Ayan. He had also notions of a controlled democracy and a little bit of authoritarianism, pero hindi niya sinakripisyo ang demokrasya at mga freedom ng tao, mga kabansa. All of this came about in 2022 with the promise of a new president, the son of the dictator, the son of Marcos I, Marcos Jr. And what did he bring? He brought us back to the 30 years of liberal democracy, where who is in control are the Americans. And so now we see this clash of the Dutertes and the Marcoses. And itong Marcos era, magdadalawang taon na, wala naman sinisisi kundi Duterte. Ay 2 taon na sila sa poder. It is very, very evident in this statement of Francis Escudero, the new Senate President. Let us listen to Francis Escudero.
Escudero finds Vice President Sara Duterte's rant against the government perplexing, noting her father's alleged failure to address some of the issues during his term. Escudero says Duterte's actions were not surprising following her resignation from the cabinet of President Bongbong Marcos, who was her running mate in the 2022 elections under Uniteam. The Senate President says the Vice President's criticisms, specifically on the Marcos administration's lack of a master plan against flooding, is somewhat confusing. Escudero explains that former President Rodrigo Duterte did not come up with one such strategy during his 6 years in power. He adds that flooding has been a long-time problem in the country, and if there was a project that was initiated before, the government should have been implementing something now. Escudero further points out that Duterte, being the country's second highest official, has the platform to suggest or execute tangible solutions to problems rather than just call attention to issues. Sara Duterte has pointed out that the government itself admitted that there is no comprehensive flood control master plan. Some lawmakers from either the Senate or House of Representatives have also called out Vice President Duterte for her statements. Meanwhile, Senator Amy Marcos defends Vice President Sara Duterte on her remarks against the government, saying that Duterte's sentiments reflect the aspirations of all Filipinos. She adds that criticisms on the government won't be helped because there are still areas for improvement.
Ayan po mga kabansa. And what is worse here is ginatungan pa ni Taguig Congressman Pami Zamora sa kanyang sinabi, all of us in the House are ready to work hand in hand with all officials whose input are productive to the national agenda. Just like what Senate President Escudero said, I also encourage the Vice President to constructively use her position and resources. Ang problema dito, nangako ito si Bongbong Marcos na itutuloy ang vision ng tatay niya at itutuloy ang magiging continuity program ng Duterte administration ang kanyang administrasyon. Pero saan dinadala ni Marcos? Since when? Has Congress become less greedy and compassionate? Pami Zamora. The Senate and the House of Representatives for the past 2 years have shown nothing but servility to Malacanang and your pockets. Both houses have not passed a single law of substance to the national concerns of the people for the past 2 years, has failed to curb inflation, has failed to reduce poverty and hunger, has failed to reduce the price of gasoline, has failed to increase jobs, has failed to stop underemployment. Nothing to provide meaningful assistance to farmers, nothing to support entrepreneurs and protect OFWs. Instead, both houses have become complicit to graft and corruption, violation of human rights, including utter discourtesy to your resource persons when you're conducting hearings. The presidency's unequal law enforcement and police harassment, as in the case of the KOGC compound now in Davao, abuses of the people's right to speech, to free speech, assembly, movement, freedom of the press, and even religion. And the unpopular amendment of the Constitution to perpetuate yourselves in power and the proxy war policies of the Marcos government. Pami Zamora, nasaan ang constructive dyan? Wala. My God, nakakainit ka ng ulo. This is political garbage. Escudero's squid tactics. For the first time, a Senate President has put himself between the President and the Vice President, between the present President and the sitting President. Bakit? Tinawagan siya ng kanyang master na nangaagaw ng kanyang kupita ng alak, iniinom. Pinapakita sa mga taong bayan, ito si Escudero, tuta ko ito. Awa ko ang leeg nito. Ako ang nag-promote sa kanya to be Senate President. So it's foolish for the Senate President to thoughtlessly jump into the fire. Ikaw na wala ka namang executive ability. Wala kang background sa executive. Naging may-ari ka ba ng isang sari-sari store? Beside your lawyering? There are many ways to skin a cat. Insofar as the comment of Sara Duterte, insofar as the 5,500 flood control projects is concerned, alam mo naman, we average 124 typhoons every year. And Duterte chose to deal with the flooding issue not just from the aspect of flood control and prevention, but disaster preparedness and emergency response. Duterte did both, Marcos did neither. Yan ang problema mo, Pami. Gumising ka na. at kumari na, huwag ka lang tumakbo for re-election sa Congress. Basura ka. So it's my turn now to be personal and ask Chis Escudero, in your 14 years, Chis Escudero, as Senator, what have you done for the flood control program and disaster management? Nakalimutan mo na ba na Duterte? Let us show the slide. Duterte only had 2 years and 1 month of normative term. What do I mean by that? Kinain ang first 5 months niya ng siege of Marawi. Hindi ba nag-declare pa ng martial law sa Mindanao? Oh. Pangalawa, kinain ang 3 years and 1 month niya ng COVID-19 pandemic. Despite this, na natira na lang sa kanya 2 years and 1 month, tingnan nyo ang chart ng infrastructure achievement ni Duterte compared to Aquino, Arroyo, Estrada, and Ramos. Oh. Pinakamababa yung kay Arroyo, 1.6. Si Duterte ho, yun, towering at 6.3. Huwag kayong maniwala sa akin. Maniwala kayo dito sa chart because this comes from the Philippine Statistics Authority. And for flood control, pakilisyon ni slide, please. 77 Metro Manila pumping stations were well maintained and working at full capacity. Hindi lang yun. Maintenance and enhancements of the 3 river systems of the Mega Manila. Pagkiklearing ng mga creeks, esteros. That's why, nung panahon ni Duterte, nakakaroon ng baha. Pero mabilis nagsasubside dahil nakakalabas agad ang tubig. Hindi lang yon. Dinala pa niya sa probinsya, sa SIPA flood mitigation structure sa Payao River, sa Cabugao River, sa Baclig, Ilocos Sur, rehabilitation or improvement of the flood control wall, sa Binahaan River, Tanawan, Leyte, at sa Kabangkalan, Negros Occidental, among others. And these are just part of the 13,224 na nakita natin ang epekto na walang nananahang tubig ng matagal sa baha dahil nakakalabas ito. Yan ang flood control program. Dahil hindi totoo na kailangan natin ng master plan. Meron lang master plan. Maintenance and enhancement na lang. And number 3, completion of the unfinished projects. Pero bago yan, tayo bumalik dyan. Ito ang mga ginawa ni Duterte sa disaster preparedness and management. Let us show the slide. Armed Forces of the Philippines ang first responders. So, yung Office of Civil Defense, inayos ang control headquarters. Yan ang communication center sa buong Pilipinas. At ang National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council was always at the scene 2 to 3 days before the disaster struck. The NDRRMC also received from China 47 heavy equipment para sa clearing of mga landslide, dredging of rivers, moving of any barriers, and tracking ng mga dirt. Yan, dumating sa ating pagtala. Pakita natin yung slide ng pagdating ng mga equipment. Ayan. Alright. Bukod dyan, rubber boats, emergency preparedness tools and equipment from the national to the barangay levels. Pakita natin ang next slide because ito, importante, the Philippine Coast Guard was only 8,500 nung dumating si Duterte. There was no Coast Guard to talk about nung dumating si Duterte. Pagdating ni Duterte at during his term and up to the end of his term, this number of 8,000 grew 3 times to 24,000. And in 2018 alone, he secured 20 aluminum boats, 20 personal watercrafts, jet skis, rigid hull inflatable boats, 180 Hilux pickup trucks, 73 rubber boats with outboard motor, 11 7-meter rigid hull inflatable boats, and 40 35-footer small patrol boats, among others. At nandiyan pa yung dalawang helicopter from Europe. And ito, panuorin natin itong video nito.
Coast Guard has embarked on the acquisition of a new lightweight multi-purpose fixed-wing aircraft as part of its capacity building and modernization efforts. With this newly acquired aircraft, it will definitely boost the Philippine Coast Guard's capability through the Coast Guard Aviation Force in the performance of our mandates. With the PCG-2081's rugged capability and high payload, the Coast Guard Aviation Force will improve its humanitarian and disaster relief capability in transporting relief goods to affected areas and transport of the highly coveted vaccines against COVID-19 to the different parts of the country, especially to the remote islands. The PCG-2081 will augment the existing fleet of Philippine Coast Guard aircraft in delivering the PCG's mandated functions: maritime safety, maritime security, maritime law enforcement, marine environmental protection, and maritime search and rescue. PCG-2081 Cessna Caravan is now commissioned to the Coast Guard service. The men and women of the Philippine Coast Guard would like to extend its appreciation to President Rodrigo Roa Duterte for his continuing effort and support to the Philippine Coast Guard's modernization.
Lahat yan mga kabansa, guni-guni lamang bago dumating si Duterte. At ang pag-asa, ang ating weather forecasting, grew to 53. Pakita natin ang slide. Automatic weather stations backed up by 17 frequency readers, 28 lightning detection system, and other equipment in all parts of the Philippines. Acquisition of state-of-the-art equipment and improved forecasting ng tropical cyclones, kagibat ng Tyros satellite support ng Japan. Alright. Paano naman ang ating mga fire protection before Duterte? Ang fire protection natin was merely on voluntary basis, mga kabansa. Pakita natin ang slide. Duterte pushed the 2021 Bureau of Fire Protection Modernization Act sa prevention ng fire, rescue, emergency medical services. Kasama dyan. And acquisition and expanded role of modern equipment, facilities, enhancement of fire personnel. Pinadami ang trabaho pa ng mga patay-sunog. At magagandang equipment from China. Ang LGUs natin, another slide, mga kabansa. Ayan. Emergency rescue vehicles, 186 based on the Duterte budget na na-acquired na noong panahon ni Marcos, 31 units from Valencia City. I'm just showing here a representation. But almost all of our LGUs. Dito lang sa Quezon City, mga kabansa, nung panahon ni Duterte, bawat barangay may isa, at least one rescue vehicle. Kaya noong COVID-19, nakita nyo, pinakamarami ang Quezon City pagdating dyan. At the Japanese government donated a rescue system involving a comprehensive package of equipment worth $1 million for search and rescue and transport of victims deployed within 72 hours after a disaster occurs. Bakit kailangan yan? Ito na ang sagot. Balik tayo sa flood control. Dahil po sa Mega Manila, pag napupuno na itong kubeta na walang flush, itong Laguna de Bay, yung po parang mga daliri na yun na nasa gitna sa kanan, no? Ha? Pag yan po ay umawas, nakita nyo yung mga pula, yung first stage nandyan, sa paligid ng Laguna de Bay, ang second stage papunta na po sa norte. At yung flow ng tubig mula sa Marikina River, na nagsisimula sa Rodriguez from the Sierra Madre Mountains on the east, funnels and look for a way to come out to the Manila Bay through 3 major river systems of Metro Manila. Ito po ang tinutulungan tayo ng San Miguel Infrastructure ni Mr. Ramon Ang to clear. Malabon, Nabotas, Tulyahan, Tinajeros, yung pong blue, yan sa kaliwa. Yung pula, Pasig, Marikina, San Juan River System. At yung pangatlo, Muntinlupa, Parañaque, Las Piñas, Zapote, yung kulay green. Diyan po umaawas, pagkapuno na ang Laguna de Bay. Bakit? Dahil wala pong lagusan from Manila Bay. Hindi po tinuloy ni Cory Aquino yung Parañaque Spillway. Nakikita nyo ba yung distansyang pinakamaliit mula sa dulong kaliwa ng Laguna, yung parang finger sa kaliwa, padait doon sa kanan sa Manila Bay? Diyan po sana pinopropose yung Parañaque Spillway. Isa pong napakalaking tunnel na kung saan pag mapupuno na ang Laguna de Bay, ibobomba pabalik sa Manila Bay ang tubig. May isa pa hong option niya dito naman sa bandang kanan. Yung parang daliring kanan na yon, makikita nyo, pwede rin ipump doon sa bandang kanan ang tubig, paakyat sa Caliraya, Lake, at daloy naman pakanan palabas sa Pacific Ocean. Dalawa po ang option dyan. Parehong hindi pa nasisimulan, mga kabansa. After how many years na wala na si Marcos na nagsimula nitong buong master plan na ito. Nakumpleto po ni Marcos ang Laguna de Bay as a natural impounding system. And 11 months ago, doon naman sa bandang Kanluran, sa itaas ng Bulacan, sa Pampanga, sa Candaba Swamp, sinabi na ni Bongbong Marcos 12 months ago na ngayon, dahil Agosto na, na kailangan magkaroon ng 200 hectares out of the 2,000 hectares of Candaba Swamp na i-develop into an impounding system. Para yung bagsak ng mga tubig mula sa norte ay ma-short stop dyan bago pakawalan palabas sa Manila Bay through Bulacan and Pampanga. Dahil yung pong awas ng Angat River na nanggagaling sa Silangan papuntang Kanluran ay tumutuloy po sa Pampanga River. At pag yan ay nagkita, ang bagsak po ng tubig niyan ay banda doon sa Bulacan. Through the Plaridel River, through the Baykawayan River, and the Bukawi River. Pinag-aralan po natin yan sa mga dati natin show. Alam natin. At yan, pag nakita-kita doon, bababa, unfortunately, nandun ang Bulacan Airport na nakaharang ngayon. Pero inaayos na daw, sabi ni Ramon Ang. Nagkiklearing na ng mga Bulacan Rivers. At Mr. Ramon Ang, tapusin mo na rin yung circumferential canal na ipinangako mo sa Department of Energy and Natural Resources. Bakit naman kasi hinuli mo yun? Eh, dapat inuna mo yun. Kaya nangyayari ngayon, itinambak mo dyan na 2,500 hectares of landfill ay bumabara sa paglabas ng tubig palabas sa Manila Bay. So wag mo sabihin hindi totoo na nababara yan. Dahil aminin na natin, gawa na lang natin ang parawang na tayong mag-debate pa dyan. So 2 years of Marcos, ano nangyari? Itinenover ni Duterte kay Marcos yung 77 pumping station in good condition. Yung river system in good condition. Oh, after 2 years, wala siyang ginawa. Nag-appropriate lang siya ng halos kalahating trilyon. Piso. Pero wala naman siyang ginawa. At nung siya mag-inspeksyon, ano sinabi niya? Basura ang ating problema. Oh, tapos sisisihin niya mga tao. Ganun, wala naman siyang mga ginagawa. Pero ka bang waste disposal program? Wala ka naman eh. Department of Fashion, yan si Luisana, baka pwede pa yan sa basketball. Ha? O, pinibed ba ni Luisana ang reclamation? Hindi. Tinulak ba niya si Ramon na ituloy yung circumference of canal? Hindi. Wala rin alam yan si Luisana. Puro travel abroad lang yan. Lampas na ng 1 bilyon ang nagagastos niya. Kasunod ninyong mag-asawa, yan si Luisana sa travels abroad. Ano problema mo eh? Hindi mo alam kung anong ginagawa ng mga kabinete mo. Your 2 years, in 2 years, ha, pagka-turnover sa'yo of a working system, nagbara na ang basura dahil walang maintenance. Sinabi mo 11 months ago, yung impounding system, di wala pang bill sa Congress yata yan napapasa sa appropriation. Wala nangyari. Wala nasimulan. Anong ginagawa mo? Whoever wrote your SONA could not have anticipated na ikaw ay susupalpalin ng Mother Nature. Kaya tinatawag ko yan Deus Ex Machina. Yan ay isang wake-up call sa iyo through Typhoon Katrina. Para mga kapambubuladas mo ay mawala na. Alright. Sumasakay naman to si Escudero. Ha? Kaya ngayon, nagkakaroon ng complexion ng plunder itong appropriation ninyo na wala namang nakikita. Alright? And so, lumabas uli, nagbara uli ang mga trash and garbage in just 2 years of your administration. Accumulated in the waterways, clogging the pumping stations and the floodgates. And that is your finding. Nasa likod mo na si Bunuan, Secretary Bunuan, hindi mo tinanong. Punyeta, ano pang ginawa mo rito? At 5,500 projects mo. O dapat ginano, hindi mo dapat sa media. Ikaw, nagkagaganong ka pa. Ano mangyayari sa ganyan? Wala. Puro palabas lang tayo. So the public is now asking, where did the money go? Huh? So ayan. Isisi nyo sa Duterte. Hoy, pagtatatlong taon na kayo dyan. Baka hindi nyo napapansin, napakainit na ng puwit nyo sa upuan. Kaya ako naman ito binubukan. Dahil nung November 7, 2023, pakita natin itong slide ng Marcos Housing Canal. Ay nambola ka pa na sinabi mo na ikaw lamang ang nagpagawa ng mga rehabilitation housing dyan sa Tacloban, Leyte. Ha? Hindi ko naman maintindihan kung ano yung pinagmamalaki mo dyan. Magkabukingan na tayo ngayon. Let's play the video, please.
What measures are taken, if there are any, to fast track its rehabilitation work?
It's always it's part of our continuing plan for the rehabilitation of what's happened, because even up to now, some of the governors, I was talking to them, some of the other officials, hindi talaga pa tayo nakapag fully recover. Hindi ba natin masasabi na kapag fully recover pa na tayo sa Yolanda. So that's still that all those rehabilitation, we only really started 2 years ago, because nothing was done in the previous administration, nothing was done in the administration before that. So now, how long? 12 years on, ngayon pa lang talaga natin na inaasikaso ng mabuti. So, but the plan is there. The funding will be available whenever the schedule requires it.
Oh my God. We only started 2 years ago, sabi mo. Nothing was done in the previous administration. Nothing was done in the administration before that. Sinabi mo ba yun o hindi? Nagmamalaki ka pa. Nakatingin sa'yo si Kring Kring. Kinakamayan ni Alfred Romualdez. Pakita natin yung slide. Si Duterte. Nakatawa si Kring Kring. Ang ganda-ganda sa background. Ha? Nakalimutan mo na ito si Duterte. Nung humampas ang Yolanda, traveled 600 kilometers from Davao City to Tacloban City to become one of the very first responders bit ni Duterte ang kanyang city disaster risk reduction management team. And yung kanyang CDRRMC at mga rescue teams complete. Dahil una yung enumerate ko kanina sa disaster control, maagang nagsimula dyan ang mga taga Davao. Kaya if only to display their equipment, pupunta yun sa lugar nyo para tumulong. Ano yung nabutan nila ron? Nakalimutan mo na si Duterte ang heavily and most affected local official niya. And in fact, this video elected him President of the Philippines. Kasi na-capture ng taong bayan ko anong klaseng tao itong si Rodrigo Duterte. Pakita natin ang sentimiento na pinaabot niya sa atin tungkol sa mga biktima ng Typhoon Yolanda.
I think God was somewhere else when the typhoon hit. Puro patay na asdalan. Hantod karon. Mga tao, wala elektrisidad, way pagkaon, way tubig, ang tanang patay na asdalan, ang mga tao gatanaw nila sa langit. I really do not know. The president had been there. Marroas was there. I would suggest that, any suggestion lang, baka abot doon na, I do not mean to a state of calamity is not enough. There has to be a state of emergency because there is no local government functioning. Yung inaasahan nila na police, army, pati mga social workers, taga-gobyerno.
6 years ago, on November 8, 2017, 17 months lang of Duterte as president. 2017. Katulad ngayon, 2 years pa lang, mag-1 year and a half pa lang siya noon. Ano na nagawa ni Duterte? Yung construction ni Noynoy Aquino na 3,000, sa Yolanda lang ito muna, sa Tacloban City. 3,000 na nagawa ni Duterte sa Tacloban. Na-increase na niya yan in 17 months to 10,677. Ano yung sinasabi mo na walang ginawa si Noynoy? In fairness to Noynoy, alam mo naman, napakahirap magpaandar ng budget. Hindi naman umaandar ang budget. Kaagad. Magsisecure pa ng lupa, kukuha pa ng licenses, magsasurvey pa kung sino mga recipients and all that stuff. So, with all due respect to Noynoy Aquino, 3,000 ang kanya napatayo. Naging 10,677 yan in 17 months of Duterte. But the whole target was enlarged by Duterte. From 9 provinces of Noynoy Aquino to 14 provinces. Nilakihan niya ng konti, ni-redesign ng konti dahil para mas livable yung housing. Gumawa sila ng targeted, including yung mga nasimula na, to 205,742. From 9 to 14 provinces, Aklan, Antique, Biliran, Camarines Sur, Capiz, Cebu, Dinagat Islands, Eastern Samar, Iloilo. Leyte, including Tacloban City, Masbate, Southern Leyte, Palawan. Pati Palawan. Pati nga Camarines Sur nakasama. Total, 205,742. Natapos nila ang 85 between Noynoy's 30,000. In addition to the 3,000 in Tacloban, nakapag-construct pa si Noynoy ng 27,000 in the 9 provinces. In fairness to President Aquino. Pero ang natapos ni Duterte was 142,436. No? At noong 2021, hindi na niya matatapos to, dahil tatapos lang ng COVID, nag-appropriate siya that funded the 33,000 lamang na ginawa mo under your term, Marcos, pero Duterte budget pa rin yan. But in fairness to you, 33,000 ang napuntang credit sa iyo. 33,306 to be exact. Dahil binerify namin ito. May report dito, hindi ko na pa-play ang video, diretso na ako. In terms of the next slide, top of emergency rehabilitation, Duterte is housing king. Bakit? Doon sa non-rehabilitation, non-emergency housing, tingnan nyo ang annual average na diniliver ni Duterte. Marcos Sr., 13,000. Corazon Aquino, 59,000. Fidel Ramos, 147,000. Number 3 si Ramos. Joseph Estrada, 108. Gloria Arroyo, 6 years si Gloria Arroyo, 96,000 lamang. Marami nagawa si Benigno Aquino, ayan, 174. Kay Benigno Aquino. So number 2 si Benigno. Sino ang number 1? Sa socialized housing, hindi ho ito rehab. No? Ito yung nasa pag-ibig and all that stuff. Affordable and low-cost housing. 195,687, and so Duterte was able to fulfill his promise of 1.2 million houses, exceeding his target by 12% by the end of his term. Housing king. So wag kang padalos-dalos kung ano nung pinagsasabi mo. Marcos, kaya tuloy ang trust rating mo noong, pakita natin ang next slide, noong June, sa Pulse siya 31 na lang. But SWS, lumabas noong July, if we extrapolate both SWS and Pulse siya, 21% na lang ang trust rating mo dahil ang dami mong sinasabi na wala namang mapatunayan na naging accomplishment mo pa. Huwag ka na lang magyabang. Huwag ka na lang maging ambisyoso. Unang ginawa ninyo nung umupo kayo dyan is to make yourself comfortable enough and want to perpetuate yourself in power. Naghahanda pa kayo ng soft landing para kay Martin Araneta, kay Tambaluslos. Puro ayuda naman ang pinamamahagi ninyo. Alam nyo sa ayuda, wala pa hong tumanggap ng ayuda na yumaman. Pero marami na hong nag-distribute ng ayuda na sila ang yumaman. At isa na itong mga racket na ginagawa ninyo ngayon. Akala nyo ba hindi kayo nahahalata sa bayan ng Pilipino? Scapegoatism has become the norm. The point of departure is not what Duterte did not do or do. So, ayan. Hindi ho si Duterte ang nag-claim ng ghost projects. Si Rabat, tenga mo, Escudero. Pumapalakpak ka pa nga eh. Ear to ear pa ang tawa mo eh. Ah! Sabi ko nga eh, cheerleader. Palakpak naman ang mga buhaya. The plunder goes to Congress. Next slide. Si Amy Marcos ang nagbukay sa inyo. 1.4 billion a day. Kung isasama yung Metro Manila, 3 billion a day. Nasaan na yan? Nasaan na yan? The Senate is significantly liable. Hindi tama na ginawa ng Senado ang share niya. Preventing the flood in Mega Manila by allotting a fortune to your brother ghost flood control projects. So yeah, the figures speak for itself. Pero according to my source in the bicameral conference committee that reconciled the disagreeing provisions of the House and Senate versions of the 2024 appropriation, each senator was given 3 billion of yearly pork barrel, 72 billion a year for 24 senators. Ba? Walang iya. Ha? Saan nang galing to? Sa flood control ba? Sa non-appropriated funds ba? Saan nyo hinugot ito? Ha? Saan nyo hinugot ito? So ito ang kini-question. Hindi lamang ng mamamayan kundi ng military. Next slide. Institutional corruption. Why? Dahil kayo dyan sa Senado, kayo dyan sa Congress, wala naman kayong pinipresent na resibo. Wala kayong proof of expense. Pirma lang ninyo, ayos na. You liquidate funds by certification. You have made yourself an exception to the constitutional provision, which says that no law shall be passed exempting any entity of the government or subsidiaries, any entity, and that includes Congress, in any guise whatsoever, in any form whatsoever, or any investment of public funds from the jurisdiction of the Commission on Audit. And when you say audit, dapat yan may resibo. Hindi dahil yan ang kalakaran nyo, ay yan na ang inyong regla. Yan na ang inyong batas. Pero nagpasa ba kayo ng law? No law shall be passed. How did you skirt it? By passing a resolution. Hindi nga batas pinasan nyo. Nagpasa naman kayo ng resolution. At ginamit nyo pa sa kala ng COA. Ano sinabi nyo sa Senate Resolution, Concurrent Resolution number 10 noong July 25, 2011, nung unang mabuking itong by certification ninyo. Ano sabi nyo? The Commission on Audit has consistently allowed the mistake of the COA ang pine-perpetuate ninyo. Allow the current system of liquidation by certification duly signed only by its senator and member of the House of Representatives. Pirma lang ninyo. Liquidated na. Sarado na ang libro. That is why Congress, next slide, is the most corrupt government. Instead of tightening, dahil kayo may oversight function dyan para sa pera ng bayan, you are the purse of the government. the purse of the government. Instead of tightening it for the public good, you have been loosening it for wider graft. This pattern of legislating for favors and exceptions rather than the rule must stop because corruption has a propensity to be pervasive. Ang bigayan dyan ng pork barrel dati, 270 million lang eh. How has it become pervasive? Aba sir, 3 billion na ho ang bigayan ngayon ng pork barrel. From 270 million a year to 3 billion. That's why gusto ng lahat ng tao maging senador. Lalo-lalo na yung 2 Cayetano, 2 Estrada, 2 Villar. Jesus Mariose. May 2 artista pa dyan. So ano nangyari ngayon? Tingnan nyo mga hearing ninyo. Para na rin kay judiciary. Basahol pa kayo. Naging kangaroo court na Senado. Ang House. Lumaki na ng gusto, ulo ninyo. Hindi lamang yung bulsa nyo naging pervasive. You have become an inheritable fuel by the least resistance. Ano yung least resistance? Hindi pwede ganunin si Tambaluslos dahil siya may hawak ng langis. It undermines development. Kayo ang pinamalaking useless expense ng gobyerno. Tapos tatapon nyo pa, kay Duterte, ang laki ng utang, lumubo utang. Tarantado pala kayo eh. May COVID-19 noon eh. Saan kukuha ng pera eh? Wala namang tax receipts. Loloko nyo pa ang mga tao eh. Wala naman nagre-reklamo kay Duterte. Sa inyo nagre-reklamo. It weakens the institutional foundations of which economic growth depends. And by reducing the incentives to public and private investment. Kaya, Escudero, Quezon de Bola, kung serious ka, avoid politics. Why put yourself between the president and the vice president? Why put yourself between the sitting president and the present president and the former president? File a bill that puts Congress of the Philippines under the standard accountancy and audit regulations of the Commission on Audit. Liquidation never by certification. Liquidation never by exception. And the responsibility here rests on your shoulders. The onus is on your neck, not the office of the Vice President. Let us play this video.
Sabihin ninyo talaga kami na, yung, hindi lang kami yung mga, yung ibang, maghingi ng hangol kami ng pera, putang ina. Kayo ang maraming pinaka. Alam mo, pag mag-liquidate ka, ano yung masking? Mag-liquidation tayo, and you will find out what is the most rotten institution dito. You will find out it's Congress. Walang limit ang ano nila dyan. Yung pork barrel, pati yan si Romualdez. He's wallowing in...
So there you go. Let the axe fall where it should fall. Mr. Marcos, you are the sitting president. Tama na yan. For the sake of the country, you are just forcing the population na bungkalin ang mga baho ninyo at ilabas. Bakit hindi kayo mag-deliver? Wala pa kayo nadi-deliver eh. Start with the basic delivery of services. Oh. Una, nagpapahirap sa tao ang taas ng kuryente. O ano? Ano ang ginagawa niya? What is the ERC doing, Miss Mona Lisa? What are you doing there? You are stopping foreign investors from coming in because our electricity rates are higher than most in the region and second only to Japan. Pero sa Japan, ang laki ng disposable income ng tao, ang laki ng gross income nila, ang laki ng naitatabi nila, may savings sa mga Hapon. Tayo, walang taas ang ating kinikita. Our GNP might be impressive at 6% plus. Pero nasaan ang pera? Sabihin ko sa inyo, 36 billion ang net profit ng Meralco last year. 36 billion. Accumulated lahat yan, siguro lalampas pa ng 200 billion yan for the whole power industry. Walang nalulugi sa kanila. Pero tingnan ninyo ang inyong electric bill. Huwag na tayong lumayo. Huwag na tayong magpunta sa palengke, sa bigas, na 20, naging 60. Huwag na tayong pumunta dyan. Ang dami pa ng debate na yan. Ako, 3,900 ang average bill ko. About 18 months ago. Ngayon, tumutuloy na ho ng 7. So, natodoble na yung binabayad ko sa kuryente. Eh, yung man lamang, maitipid ko para panggasolina ko. Eh, hindi. Hahanap pa ako ng panggasolina ko. Kita nyo? Stress na binibigay ninyo sa taong bayan. Wala naman kayo. Pag si Larry Gadon ang tinanong mo, kesyo, 6%. Hindi yan, Larry. Wala akong pakialam niya sa gross national product dahil sa mga pangilinan, sa mga aboitis, at saka sa mga rason lang napupunta yan. At saka dyan sa mga kausap mong mayayaman. Ha? Ang gusto kong makita, yung GDP, PPP, per capita, yung share ng bawat isang Pilipino sa gross domestic product. Napakababa when compared to our ASEAN neighbors. And then, ang tanong na lahat, bakit naasikaso mo yung military? Ano ba makukuha natin sa mga bato-bato dyan? Ano ba makukuha natin sa pasundot-sundot tayo sa dragon? Wala naman. Eh bakit mo ginagawa? Sino ba amo mo? Pilipino ba? O Amerikano? Plano ba ng Amerikano sinususog mo dito? Sa Pilipinas? O ikabubuti ng kabuhayan ng sambayan ng Pilipino? Lahat ho ng pag-aabuso sa poder. Diniscuss ko na ho yan. Yung plant control, yung kuryente. Kung merong mothballing of the Parañaque Spillway by Cory Aquino, meron din mothballing by the Bataan Nuclear Plant by Cory Aquino, which would have reduced our reliance on imported fuel to only as low as 34%. Eh ngayon, 97%. Ayos na yung Bataan Nuclear Plant, hindi pinanta. Pakita natin itong slide ng libro ko. Yan, kung gusto nyo makita mga dirty details affecting flood control and our power problems sa electricity, read The Poverty of Power. Ayan po ang telepono 0917-336-4366. If you text me, I will send you the details on how that book can be yours. By the way, I wrote this book to remind Marcos, this was in time for the 2022 election, to remind Marcos of the vision of his father and the continuity program na sinimulan ni Duterte, which you have turned your back to. So today we will end with a saying, with a quotation from Orlando De Leon, a retired Brigadier General, who said on August 11, 2024, pero mukhang, I look at this more of a warning rather than a quotable quote. Congressmen and senators liquidate billions, no, trillions of taxpayers' money by certification. So sabi niya, I guess it is justified to eliminate corruption by liquidation too. Merong veiled threat yata dyan, General. Pero hindi ko na yan i-explain. Alam niyo in Russia, natapos ang Romanov dynasty. When after the Bolshevik Revolution, the people have taken over the palace. And some of the Romanovs who were not taken to different places, saan sila either i-exile or execute, doon mismo sa likod ng palasyo, ni-line up sila against the wall and prepare a fountain fuego. They all were eliminated through the firing squad. When the Sandinistas were taking over some of the sa South America, when some of the revolutions there became successful, ano ang nangyari? The ordinary people ran over their Forbes Park, Dasmariñas Village, Bel Air, lahat na yan. Niloot ng mga ordinaryong tao ang mga vestiges ng mga naghaharing uri. Baka dyan pupunta ang pattern of malgovernance ninyo ngayon, kaya mag-ingat kayo. The way you're conducting yourselves, despite all the scandals that have been leveled against you, na ayaw nyo namang harapin. There might come a time when you might, just as Orlando De Leon hints, meet a violent conclusion. Preparen a fountain fuego. Maraming salamat po at magkita-kita tayo sa susunod na Sabado.
It's time to go. Get ready.